Bob Garner, and you are going to talk about sustainability, business, and the future of the VR industry. Okay, I think it's an amazing future.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, everybody. Yep, my name is Bob Garner, and I run Casaldifiki, environmentally sustainable holiday apartments in Le Marche, Italy. I've been doing this for 15 years, and so over that time, I've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work around sustainability, what helps your business, and what helps bring customers to you. And I want to talk about that today. So it's getting ahead of itself. There we go. Okay, cool. I also run Green VR Events. So this is an organization to help events like this to be more sustainable. And I'd like to congratulate the Avantio team for putting sustainability at the heart of this conference. It makes a huge difference because once we start to talk about sustainability at conferences like that and this, you start to learn about what's possible, and we get sustainability on the agenda. We've so far got 9 conferences now that have adopted the standard, and it's great, but we've still got a lot more work to do because there are, as you know, 40 events in the vacation rental world. So we've still got more to do, but we're tackling those. I'm also the founder of Enviro Rental, and I'll be talking about that later. So when I talk to property managers and hosts, which I do every day around sustainability, talking about what they can do, how they can do it, what their concerns are, and there's a real theme that comes out. You know, I can almost double guess what the comments are going to be because I've seen it over many years with hundreds of property managers and hosts. But I don't know if you have the same views, so I'd like to find out and do a very small exercise, and I've got 3 questions for you. So I'd like you all to stand up, please. Great, thank you. And we've got 3 questions. The first question is, stay standing if you believe that sustainability should be a part of your business. Stay standing, otherwise sit down. Wow, not a single person has sat down. So you all believe that sustainability should be a part of your business. That's fantastic. That is the first hurdle crossed. Brilliant, well done. Now the second point. Continue to stay standing if you've already implemented some significant environmental initiatives into your business. Stay standing. Otherwise, please sit down. Okay, so we've just got 3 or 4 people on their feet. Everybody else has sat down. Just to say that's typical. That is absolutely the experience that I have every time I talk to people. And it's really interesting, isn't it, that there is this ambition to be sustainable, to do something for the environment, to do something for your business. But there's a gap between that ambition and the practical application of putting that into place and building sustainability into your business. So we're going to come back to that. But I have one more question for the 3, 4 people still standing. Continue to stay standing if sustainability is at the core of your business. So it's not just something that you've done, you've built it into your business, and it's fundamental to your business. Stay standing. So we have 1 person left standing. Congratulations, that's fantastic. Thanks, please sit down. And perhaps, we can chat afterwards, because I'm sure we can learn from you. And maybe next time you should be up on this stage talking about sustainability, because obviously you're doing some amazing things, so let's chat afterwards. So one of the things that crops up every time when I'm talking to people around sustainability is they have a number of objections or concerns that stop them, that inhibit them from taking action. And I want to just touch on those now and talk a little bit about them, because possibly they're the same things that are inhibiting you, in which case we need to tackle them so that you can tackle sustainability. So we've got the balance here. We've got on the left, doing nothing, and we're going to talk about the reasons for doing nothing in a moment. And then on the right, taking action and doing something. And I think there are two motivators for taking that action, which we'll talk about in a moment. So quickly, building on what some of the objections are. So I don't understand it. I don't understand sustainability. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. And so inertia sits in and people do nothing. That's perfectly normal. That's typical. No criticism of anybody intended. I don't know where to start. That's definitely part of it is, yes, okay, I want to do something, but what should be my first step? How should I start on this process? Because taking the first step is perhaps the most difficult because you're going into unknown territory. And then it's not my responsibility. This is where, understandably, people say, oh, well, the government will sort this out, or the legislators will sort this out, or somebody will tell me when I have to do something and make a change around sustainability, and then I will act. Oh, two there. I want to make a profit. Absolutely, of course, everyone wants to make a profit, and the assumption there might be that if you're implementing sustainability, you can't also be profitable. And too busy. Of course, we're all incredibly busy. We've got so much on our plate. We're trying to maintain and sustain and grow our businesses. And the thought of then turning your mind to sustainability is often quite daunting. Eco is not luxurious. I hear this all the time. There seems to be this feeling that if you build sustainability and green initiatives into your business, you cannot be luxurious. And I certainly want to talk about that. And then I already have a marketing strategy. I've already got my plan. I know what I'm doing, and I don't want to be diverted from that plan. I hear that as an objection all the time. I like book direct, and therefore there's some feeling that if you're eco-friendly or sustainable, that you can't also be getting bookings directly. And that's something we'll talk about. Also too expensive. This is always one of the big ones. People go, oh, well, if I have to implement sustainability, I'm going to have to pay for this and pay for that, and what will the payback period be? And, how can I afford to do A, B, and C? And nobody's interested in eco. So the idea is that, well, if I put all these things in place, will it really make a difference? Will it make any difference to the bottom line? Is anybody actually that interested? Are tourists and travellers really interested? And finally, what climate emergency? So I hope there's nobody in the room who doubts that there is a climate emergency, but I do occasionally come across those people who doubt that actually it exists. So let's talk about these one at a time. Climate emergency, I've talked about. I think if there's anybody who doubts that, then I'd love to have a conversation with you afterwards and explain the science and talk about that in detail. But I hope there's nobody in the room who feels that way. Nobody's interested in eco. This, I say, is one of the biggies. And what I always refer people to is the Booking.com survey from the spring of this year. Booking.com do a survey every year around sustainability. This year was their 8th survey. And each year, the numbers of respondents and the percentage of people interested in sustainability goes up and up and up. And this data is also confirmed by Expedia, who do a similar survey and have come up with similar results. And I just want to highlight some of those. So 71% of people would like to stay sustainably. 46% of people have stayed sustainably. And 78% of global travelers intend to stay in a sustainable property. Now, to me, those numbers are huge. Now, of course, two of those numbers are intention. One is fact, because it's actually happened. And clearly there can be a gap between intentions and action, as we've seen in this room around you wanting to all do sustainability, but actually struggling to have the capacity to implement it. But these numbers are amazing, and one of the things I always talk to people about is it doesn't matter what your approach is to sustainability. For me, I'm passionate about the subject, I believe in it, and I want to implement it and educate other people. But if you're only interested in coming to sustainability because you can make more money out of it, then that's absolutely fine, because the end result will be that that will be positive for the planet as well. And so I always talk around this survey, because if you want to attract people who want to stay sustainably, then you have to do something around sustainability. It's obvious, isn't it? And of course, we're clearly not talking about greenwashing here, where you pretend you're doing more than you are and you're having a bigger impact than you think you are. This is about taking genuine action and branding your organization around some aspects of sustainability, and then communicating that so the people who are looking to stay sustainably can find you. And it's really important that this point I really need to stress is, because if you're doing sustainable stuff and not talking about it and not branding and blogging and putting it on your website, then how are people going to necessarily find you and want to stay with you? So it's really important, if you want to tap into this market, just pivoting your organization very slightly, and start by 2 or 3 things that you can do. Nobody expects you to be perfect. It's a journey we're all on. But take some action, do 2 or 3 things, and review and see what the benefits are. And I think you will find, as I've found in my business, that it's really rewarding and great for your business. It's too expensive. Yeah, so absolutely not. I can give you 10 things that you can do to make your business sustainable. It will cost you nothing. We'll talk about them perhaps afterwards, but you don't have to start by putting in solar panels, putting in a car charger, buying expensive heat pumps, etc., etc. Those are the things that you can tap into and do when the time is right for your business and your organization, perhaps when there's some grants available, for example. So the small things are important too, and branding your website accordingly can make a huge difference, and we'll talk about those. I like Book Direct, yeah. Well, so do I. I love Book Direct. My business, Casal di Fichi, which is 6 sustainable holiday apartments in Italy, I've got a 90% book direct rate. I've got a 65% return rate, plus referrals on top. I think that's pretty good in the industry. So it's certainly possible that you can have book direct. And I think I would say, from my experience over the last 15 years, is when consumers who are looking to stay sustainably come to you and stay with you, it really enhances their stay, and they go away understanding that they've made an ethical choice, a positive choice to be sustainable, and you've helped them do that. And so staying sustainably is really great for your business, and certainly very good for Book Direct. Our guests love it, and then they come back and back and back, because they love it when they found somebody who's doing some genuine sustainable stuff and is not doing greenwashing. And I can't stress that enough. That's really important, that you're very honest and open about what you do, even if you're just starting out. We've all got to start somewhere. I have a marketing strategy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that that strategy can't be tweaked and adapted. You know, it was our Prime Minister Churchill in Britain in the Second World War. He said, "When the information changes, I change my opinion. I change my strategy." What would be wrong with that? Because you have a strategy, it doesn't mean that you can't revisit it. It doesn't mean that you can't adapt it to new information that comes to you and make some changes. Too busy. Yeah, of course. We're all busy. But if sustainability is going to be profitable for your business, and I believe it can be, and will be, as it has been for me, then how can you be too busy to organize your organization in an appropriate and effective way so that you can attract those people? We're all busy. We're always going to be busy. If it's important, you'll find the time. I want to make a profit. Yeah, of course, absolutely. We all want to do that. And that's why those book direct numbers were really important. And I think what people love is around sustainability is when they come to you and they find you and they like you, they come back. I'll give you one interesting experience I've had around sustainability. When we are booking our guests, we add a €30 optional supplement to their fee. It's clearly laid out that it's optional. If they don't want to pay it, they don't have to. We then add our €30 from our organisation to make it €60, and we use that to offset carbon. And we've been doing that for a number of years now. And let me tell you, in all the years we have been doing it, in every single year we've been doing it, not one customer has ever said they don't want to pay that sustainability premium. It's only €30, so if you're talking about a holiday worth €1,000, it's not so significant. But nobody has ever refused it because they know that you're trying to do the right thing, and by them contributing, they feel that they're doing the right thing too, and it's a part of their experience of staying sustainably. So we're swinging back a little bit to the right now as we're knocking off some of these topics. The next one, it's not my responsibility. So this is... Oh, sorry, we need to just go back. This is also about profit. Holidoo, who many of you will be familiar with, have an eco badge on their website for the properties that are sustainable. And they've started it, I think, in this last 12 months. So some of the data is still young. But the results that they're seeing so far are that they're getting over an 11% increase in clicks for those sustainable properties and a 28% click-to-book rate increase. So there's some evidence there, albeit it's in the early days, that their consumers are looking to stay sustainably, and therefore, if you can work with your peers in the industry and educate them that sustainability can bring in some more business, well, who's not going to want to do that? I always say, when you're looking at two properties, when a consumer's looking at two properties, they're equal in price, they're equal in quality, they're equal in location. Everything about them is the same. The one difference is that one of them is doing some good eco stuff and the other one isn't. Well, tell me one consumer who's going to then say, I'm not going to choose the eco one. I'm going to stay with the other one, all other factors being equal. So sometimes sustainability can be that one thing that pushes the guest over the edge to come and stay with you. And I'd encourage you to talk to Holidoo about these stats. I think they're really interesting. And then the other one around, it's not my responsibility. This chart, sorry, there's a lot of information on this chart, but it documents country overshoot days in 2022. And what that means, if you can see the detail, it goes through a number of countries and gives the date. So, for instance, Spain is down here somewhere around May the 12th, I think that is. And that's the point of which the consumers in that country have exhausted all the resources that that country can provide in 1 year. So, obviously, the more advanced the country, usually the earlier in the period they reach that point. I think as a world, it's something like July the 27th now. It came out this year. So we're almost getting to the point where we need 2 planets to sustain the consumption that we are using. So you've heard all about the climate emergency. I'm not going to talk about the science, but it is clear that we are influencing the world, and each of us has got to take responsibility for that, in each of our businesses, each industry, because we've got to reduce our emissions. And at the moment, emissions are still rising. So I won't talk about the science. I'm sure you know a lot about it, and happily to talk to anybody else afterwards. But I think it's not good enough to say it's somebody else's responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility. I don't know where to start. Yep. Well, as I've said, you start with some simple initiatives, some easy wins that will cost you no money and that will make a difference, and you can brand your website. You do things like a green energy tariff. You do things like green hosting on your website. You do things like trying to remove some single plastic out of your business. I've written about these extensively, and I've written the roadmap, which will take you from where you might be to where you might want to be, and it's definitely aimed at property managers and hosts. and I'd encourage you to look at that, and it will help you. But I'm going to say something more about that in a moment. And then I don't understand it. I think a lot of people are concerned around not understanding the science, and there's a lot of jargon, isn't there, about net zero and 2050 and what the rise in the temperature will be, and that we need to cut emissions by 50% by 2030. There's a lot in there. You don't need to know any of that. All you need to know and accept that there is a climate emergency, that you have a role to play, that you can make a difference, and your business can be successful with those actions. And I think for me, I always say sustainability is a little bit like a nice drug. I talk about this virtuous circle, is that when I first started out, I implemented some things. I started to see that was impacting on better quality reviews, the increase in referrals, repeat business. That impacted on the bottom line because I wasn't spending so much on marketing, and the return on investment was good. And so then you implement some more things because you think, that works. I really enjoy doing that. It's positive for my business. Let's do some more of it. That's exactly how I started 15 years ago with just 2 or 3 initiatives. And then over years, you build them up and you see the positive result on your business, and you're doing something good for the planet too. So I've just talked through some of the potential objections around sustainability, which leaves us with the 2 actions, the 2 reasons to do it. And they're pretty obvious. That doing it can be good for your business, as I've been talking about, and it's also good for the planet. You can come up with lots of subsections of that and talk about it till the cows come home. But essentially, making a difference means that you will make a positive impact on your business, and it will be great for the planet too. So, just to summarize, talking about sustainability and profitability are not mutually exclusive. The 2 can go hand in hand. My experience and other people that I've worked with shows that and demonstrates that. And the 2 reasons to say yes are that it's good for the planet, and it's good for your business. So what does that leave us with? Well, it leaves us with the fact that if you're going to implement sustainability, you need a strategy. You need to think about how am I going to start and what am I going to do? And this is the point that we come back to, is that most people go, yes, I want to do something, but they don't move to that next point of action. And I spend a lot of time talking to hosts and property managers, trying to get those barriers out of the way, to clear the mist and give you a clear path, so that you can see what you can do and the steps you can take at the pace that your business can cope with. And so get out your phones and have a look at that website. What I'm doing is I'm taking all my learning, all my experience, everything that I know that works around sustainability, and I'm putting it into a website called Enviro Rental. So Enviro Rental will be the repository, the hub of everything I know that works around sustainability. I spend a lot of time talking to people one-on-one. It clearly isn't sustainable for a volunteer to do that. We need a place, because there is no other place in our sector, where you can find all the information you need, clearly explained, clearly understood, that you can then start to take some steps. And, you know, I work with lots of organizations, and I know that this doesn't exist. So I'm doing this, and everything on there will be free. There'll be no charge whatsoever, and that way we can start to get you to take action, because you were all stood up saying you wanted to take action. Most of you haven't yet taken action, and we need to make it as easy for you to take those steps. And the easiest way I can think of is to put everything there in one place, a one-stop shop, so you have everything you could possibly need around sustainability. So that website is being built at the moment. There's a holding page. I would encourage you to get your phone out and just go to that page, enter your email and your name, and we will alert you when all that data and that information and that guidance is ready. It's being built at the moment. So I think that, for me, is the best way that I can help you to get where you want to go. Because what we don't want to be doing is, in another year, standing here and everybody's still saying, yes, I believe in sustainability, but no, I haven't yet taken action. We need to break through those resistors and make it as easy as possible for you. So EnviroRental will do that. So I would encourage you to please log on and get the information. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much. Any questions in the audience? Anyone who wants to talk or wants to give a perspective for their sustainability approach? No one? I'd like to just put some question on Bob, you've been for a long time in your property, you know, kind of applying sustainable measures, and so to what extent have you implemented any investments in the property itself, so it will just become more efficient? Could you just tell us?
In my business?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously, over time, I've invested in solar panels, an electric car charger. Actually, I got the electric car charger free from Tesla. They just gave me one, so that didn't cost anything. Yeah, each year we implement a load more things. I'd encourage you to go to my website, casaldefiki.com. There are some pages around sustainability there. You can see all the initiatives we've done. Some of them are very small, some are much more significant. Yeah, but I would really stress, you've got to start where you are with what you can do and the resources available to you. And you can do so much at zero cost. And I would encourage you to do that. The roadmap that I mentioned will be on this website, so you'll be able to go to it and see exactly what you can do and the stages you can take and the support that will be available to you. Please log on.
My question was in the sense that when you do an investment, normally if you become more efficient and you have some savings in your operational day-to-day business. So
yeah,
do you have any data on what the savings have been and what was the return on your investment or the payback or
I'll give you one example. You know, we're all going through this energy crisis at the moment, and friends and colleagues near us who don't have solar panels, their electricity bill went up in 1 month. Last year it was €500. This year it's €1,500 for a similar sized property to mine. I don't have that because, of course, I've got solar panels, so obviously I'm saving that. So the payback period on solar panels has certainly come down as a result of the energy crisis. And certainly I think we'll see a lot more investment in renewables as we move forward. But, you know, the simple thing is you don't need to even do that at this stage. Contact your energy supplier and say you want to be on a green tariff. That means that it's still the same electricity coming down the wires, of course, but your money that you pay to that company is then going to support the investment in renewables. And you can badge your website accordingly. And that's a step that you can easily take. It's a phone call, it's a click on a website. If by any chance the provider says we don't have a green energy tariff, shift to a new provider. It won't cost you any money. It isn't really difficult to do. It's just a simple thing, but it makes a huge difference in terms of where our money goes, and that's what we need to do. We need to direct our money away from carbon and towards renewables.
Any more questions? No? Okay, well, thank you very much, Bob.